Amber Barno, former U.S. Army pilot, Iraq War vet, and spokeswoman for Concerned Veterans for America. Amber, always good to see you. Thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be here, Shannon.
All right, so we have what seem to be some mixed messages from different members of the administration talking about what kind of threat is or isn't currently posed to the U.S. homeland by ISIS. We all remember the video out just a couple of weeks ago of the one leader who was vowing that the flag of Allah would be raised over the White House. We've seen other threats on social media that seemed aimed directly at U.S. cities. So what are we to make of the messages we're getting from the top?
Yeah, this is the White House Communications Office attempt to get in the way of policymakers and leadership within the administration who are telling the truth about the threats of ISIS. So this is the administration's attempt to rein everybody back in and really downplay the threat that ISIS poses to the U.S. But in doing so, they're confusing the American people. We need the White House to stop micromanaging these experts in their field that are letting the American people know what's going on and really be honest and let us know what's going on instead of attempting to control all of the information.
All right, I want to read a little bit of a quote. This is from former CIA Director General Michael Hayden. He says this about whether there will be an attack or threats here in the U.S. He says, "This is a question of timing, not of inevitability, not of intent. ISIS is a very powerful local organization and probably a reasonably powerful regional terrorist organization, but it's one that has global ambitions, and it has the tools. It has expressed the intent." Clearly, there are those, maybe not currently a part of the administration, but certainly those who would understand the intelligence, the threats, and what we're really facing, who seem pretty bold in their predictions. They think they're going to be accurate that there's a threat here right now.
Yeah, the threat that ISIS poses to the U.S. is real and it is imminent. White House advisor Ben Rhodes said that the beheading of James Foley by ISIS was a terrorist attack against the United States. We do not have the luxury of time when it comes to ISIS. We can fight them in Iraq, we can fight them in Syria, or anywhere else they attempt to take up safe haven, or they will make their way to U.S. soil. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
And you mentioned this may be confusing to the average American because a lot of folks see this, the persecution of the religious minorities and seeing the people who are begging for their lives, the Yazidis that were trapped. We progress through further, brutal beheadings, crucifixions. We see now Jim Foley. I mean, it seems like the administration, if it wanted to, would have the tools it needs to make a case that we have to be more directly involved, and yet it seems they're very hesitant to do that.
Yeah, what we have to remember here is that the threat we're seeing in 2014 in Iraq is much different than the insurgency that was attempting to blend in with the civilian population in Iraq in 2005. ISIS is not attempting to do that. They are operating in plain sight. They're using American vehicles, American equipment. We're seeing them drive around in U.S. military Humvees. And that makes it that much easier for the U.S. military with the equipment and the technology and the optics that we have today to find, fix, and destroy them.
Amber, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you for joining us today as well. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Shannon.